Point number one, it's not a science. I just can't explain that. What we do is not a science, and often we'll come in and we're asked to explain why and how. And without sounding arrogant, because that's we could never say this, because I know, I just know, because it's sitting here. What we do is not a science, and the same thing applies to marketers. The better marketers, the better clients, just know. They get it or they don't. Obviously, you can learn a lot of the stuff, but there's the small important part is unlearned. It's in there, that you either get it or you don't. The best marketers, the best clients have an appreciation for creativity, understand that, and mix that with the business side of it. And the combination of that is absolutely powerful if you get it right. I'm going to state some very obvious things, just so this is another apology. The consumer is a person. How quickly we forget. And if you think that you're talking to a person and a human being, and you know what your target market is, LSM this, age group that, income this, so many fridges in the house and all that stuff, but it's a person there. There was an interesting thing I saw at the Unilever Institute. There was a guy who quoted, he said, I may live in the shacks, but my brain doesn't live there. It's quite an interesting thing. So let's just remember that we're talking to a consumer, we're talking to a person, a human being. That human being has feelings, that human being is not stupid. You will never please everyone. When we launched First for Women 7 years ago, why weren't you women only? You must be familiar with some of the ads. But they got more complaints than they ever did in the history of their business. That more complaints was no more than 10. And it created such an uproar and a stir in the business. Oh, what must we do? Must we pull the ads? But we asked upon analysis of it, we found that majority of those complaints were men. So who gives a shit? Your target market's women. And the women that were complaining about it were not the profile of target market that we wanted. So that sort of complaint's brilliant. You'll never ever satisfy everyone. And as marketers, if you try and satisfy everyone, you're doomed. You got to choose who exactly you want to please, who exactly you want to talk to, and who exactly you want to evoke an emotion in. The rest of them are irrelevant. The customer doesn't care about the product like you do or the brand. I sometimes get the sense that marketers believe clients are waiting for that ad. And I've even had clients saying they'll PVR it to pause it for the telephone number. They don't give a they don't care. They don't care about your product. You've got to make them care about your product by caring less about it, by thinking less about it, by less analysis and more feeling. Here's another fact, and this is just a fact of life as it's evolved. Your consumer wants to be entertained. Of course he wants information, but as I showed you before, is in an environment, whether it's online or on above the line in television, he's being entertained. He's being entertained by the newsroom. And up comes your ad. You've got to make sure that he's as entertained, or he will fast forward, or he'll skip the ad, or he'll switch channels. Get your pens out. Next one. I promise you I'm not arrogant and cocky, but some of these things have to be said. You've hired creative agencies for a particular reason. That reason is you needed a service. What is that service? What is that offering? You know what it is. Allow them to express themselves. Allow them to get on with their job. And that doesn't mean the agency is always right. That doesn't mean the client's always right. But if you keep writing the ad for the agency, you can spend that money on your own salary. It's better spent. Because when you start doing that, you're not just breaking the morale of a creative agency, but you're telling them, I don't really need you, or I don't rate you, or you're not offering me anything. So the next time that person comes to present something, he's coming to present to you what you want, not what's right for the brand. I cannot stress this point enough, which leads to my next one. As marketers, don't expect great work if you're not brave enough to buy it. If I had a rand for every time a client had come up to us, prospective client, and said, We want Nando's-like advertising. We want First for Women-like advertising. And then it's presented to them if it's right for their business. And then it's a little too brave or a little too bold, and it's not their business. So careful what you wish for. But great work, you have to ask for great work, and you've got to follow through by delivering, by buying into it and supporting it. Not just buying into it and going, I'm not sure this will work, but let's do it, because I don't know if that's what you're saying, because that's kind of insurance. If it doesn't work, I told you so. You need to do everything in your power to get the entire mix to support a piece of an idea, a creative idea, and it'll work. Another one, when creative agencies or agencies present a piece of work to you, very simple thing. I apply this same principle within the agency when ideas are presented to me. If it surprises me, there's a very good chance it's going to surprise someone else. The flip side of it, if you saw it coming, it's going to be found uninspiring by a lot of people. So when the work surprises you, chances are it'll surprise your customer, which is a very good thing. If the idea makes you uncomfortable, you're probably onto something. Otherwise, it's expected, you've seen it before. There's a sense of discomfort, as my Nando's client says, bum squeezing. I think that's what he says. So they have the bum squeezing test. When you're clenching, there's something there. There's something that's evocative. In Nando's terms, that's sometimes provocative, so it's not about Nando's, but if there's something that makes you go, ooh, you've just felt something, not necessarily right, but it's definitely worth some interrogation. Clients, marketers, never give up. I've had so many marketers come to me and say, I want to change the business, I want to do this kind of work, but the business won't allow it, it's too big a problem. You never ever give up. Also remember, the agency is your friend. The agency is part of your team. The agency is there to help you solve problems. The agency is not there to create problems. If you've got that kind of agency, you've got the wrong agency. The agency is supposed to understand your business as well as you do. The agency needs to understand your business problems as much as you do. And the difference is the agency will have an unorthodox, interesting, inspiring, creative way of solving that problem. And that's why you hired them. They're your friend. You start making agencies feel like they're part of your team and they'll deliver. Don't aim for success, aim for great success. Good is just not good enough anymore. You've got to aim for absolutely amazing, groundbreaking stuff. That P&G ad for me is groundbreaking in what it did over the Olympics. It's become the new benchmark. But if you aim for a really good ad, you would have got exactly that. So aim for something much bigger than that. And more importantly, fail spectacularly. Again, point number one, it's not a science. If you're going to go down in glory. For two reasons. Number one, you'll know you actually put everything into it. Number two, you were doing something absolutely bold and brave. And number three, you'll never make that mistake again. And it happens. You can pump millions and millions of rands in something that's average, and you'll fail. So if you're going to aim for the stars and fail spectacularly, this is the same principles apply at the agency. Pretesting is a sign of weakness. Another bold statement. I'm going to get lynched. That's my opinion. My opinion is when clients need pre-testing, they don't know what they're doing. They don't have the confidence to make the decision. Marketers, clients, you've been hired because of your skill. That skill is business acumen together with that little gut thing. You've got to go with it. Pre-testing kills ideas. It kills magic. Pre-testing is never genuine, and it never ever improves an ad, in my opinion. And then finally, do it differently or don't do it at all. It makes no sense to do something that's been done before. It just doesn't make any sense because the market is full with different competitors out there. If you're going to do it in a similar vein, there's no point in doing it at all. You're sharing your space, you're sharing your money, you're sharing your spend. You're breaking it up. You're creating noise. So please don't do that. Here's an ad that still inspires me to this day, that should inspire all of us. I think I've used this ad in presentations more than any other one.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them, but the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
Two more slides. So in conclusion, the future of advertising depends on you clients out there. So don't fuck it up.